Hi, I'm Tom Lu. Today I'm in Palermo, the capital of Sicily. Sicily is an island in Mediterranean Sea, south of Italian peninsula. In the past 2,500 years, Sicily was inhabited and ruled by people of many different civilizations: Greeks, Arabs, Normans, Romans, and Spanish, which contributed to its incredibly rich and diverse culture, and is reflected in its distinctive music, art, architecture, and cuisine. Today, Sicily is an autonomous region of Italy and a popular tourist destination. In the next few days, we are going to explore the beautiful and vibrant city, Palermo in Sicily. When you visit Palermo, Sicily, you can't help admire its history. Walking on the street, especially its historic center, you will be mesmerized, as if you were transported to a different era. You will certainly visit the most famous landmarks, such as Norman Palace, Palermo Cathedral. You will also come across its bustling city center, filled with shops and restaurants. You may also like to take a stroll on the quiet, narrow streets between the tall building walls. Some are new, some are old, some are well preserved, some are dilapidated. All evoke a sense of ages. Visiting the local market brings you to the close contact with the local life. The city showcases a fascinating mix of architectural styles, with Greek, Roman, Arab, Norman, and Byzantine influences. Sicilian cuisine is a flavorful and a diverse reflection of the island's rich history and the cultural influences. The cuisine combines elements from Arab, Norman, Spanish, Greek, and Italian traditions, resulting in a unique and a vibrant culinary landscape. What you see or feel in Sicily is the atmosphere as a result of accumulation of various cultures in a long time span of history. When I speak of culture, I mean a broad concept of people's way of life, including politics, religion, customs, the food that they cook, the architectural style, etc. In Palermo, the culture is vivid, deep, and real. The island of Sicily was originally inhabited by Sicels, an Indo-European tribe, during the Iron Age, giving its name. In late 8th century BC, a large Greek population began to migrate to Sicily and establish the colonies, drawn by the island's fertile land, rich natural resources, and profitable trade routes. Palermo was officially founded by the Greeks in 734 BC. In the 3rd century BCE, the Romans conquered Sicily, ending the Greek domination of the island. Sicily was crucial for Rome's naval power and acted as a strategic bridge between Africa and the Italian peninsula. Sicily was a part of the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire for about 1,000 years. After the Roman Empire fell, Sicily was captured by the Arab Muslims. The Arabs ruled Sicily for the next 240 years with the spread of Islam. In 1130, the Normans conquered Sicily and southern Italy and founded the Kingdom of Sicily. Christianity became the dominant religion in the Norman society, although the island's population was a mix of Christians and Muslims. The Kingdom of Sicily lasted until 1816. In the next few decades, Sicily changed its rulers frequently while being embroiled in a series of complicated power struggles between Spain, France, and Austria, until in 1861, Sicily became a part of the unified Kingdom of Italy. Palermo, the capital of Sicily, lies in a basin surrounded by mountains. These mountains face the Tyrrhenian Sea, which is a part of the Mediterranean Sea. 30 to 60 million years ago, the African and the Eurasian plates collided in this region. Mountain chains, islands, and active volcanoes began to form. The island of Sicily, sitting on the high ground of the mountain chains, was a part of that formation. When the Arabs invaded and later conquered Sicily in the 9th century, they were stunned by the beauty of the island. They saw the intense blue of the sea, the lush green of the vegetation, and the dark colors of rocks and the promontories. They called the island the paradise on earth, and they called Palermo the Golden Basin, making it the capital of Sicily for the first time. Palermo is situated against the backdrop of Mount Pellegrino, a 600-meter high rock rising above the coast, offering stunning views of the city of Palermo and the Tyrrhenian Sea. The German writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, during his trip to Italy, described it the most beautiful promontory in the world. Lying on the coast, the Palermo Marina, also known as La Cala, is a historic harbor dating back to ancient times when it was used by the Greeks, Romans, and later by various other civilizations. A marina is a dock with moorings and supplies for yachts and small boats. The area around the Palermo Marina has been revitalized as a part of the urban redevelopment in Palermo, which began 20 years ago and is now a popular spot for locals and tourists alike, featuring restaurants, bars, and walking paths along the waterfront. The 377-kilometer-long State Road 113, known as SS-113, runs along the northern coast of Sicily, passing through Palermo and connecting several towns and villages. The SS-113 is one of the oldest roads in Sicily. Its construction began as early as 1778 and completed in 1928. The construction took 150 years due to the rough terrains that it had to cross. The road offers stunning views of the Tyrrhenian Sea and the northern coastlines of Sicily. Drivers can enjoy a scenic journey with beautiful landscapes, beaches, cliffs, and picturesque coastal towns. The coast of Palermo was outside the ancient city walls, an archaeological area that contains several fortifications used for defensive purposes. during the Norman and the Bourbon domination. Sicilian nobles once took romantic walks, rode carriages, and had conversations. It was described as dark and a severe blue sea by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. It shaped the history and the identity of the people of Palermo. Today, as we come to visit this charming location, the memory has been reinvented. There's no better way to start a day in Palermo than to have a traditional Sicilian breakfast, which usually consists of an arancini, a cannoli, and a cup of cappuccino. Arancini is a delicious rice ball that is typically stuffed, coated in breadcrumbs, and deep fried. Common fillings include a mixture of meat sauce, peas, and cheese. The rice balls are often coated in flour, dipped in beaten eggs, and rolled in breadcrumbs before frying. This creates a crispy outer layer that contrasts with the soft and creamy interior. Cannoli is a tube-shaped pastry filled with sweet, creamy ricotta cheese mixture. The shell is made from a dough that typically includes flour, sugar, butter, and eggs. The dough is rolled thin, cut into oval shapes, wrapped around the metal or wooden tubes, and then deep fried until deep brown and crispy. Via Maqueda is a famous historic and commercial street in Palermo. Built between 1598 and 1601 by the Spanish viceroy Bernardino Cardenas, Portugal, Duke of Maqueda, from whom it takes its name. Walking along Via Maqueda, you will enjoy to see a mix of historic buildings, churches, theaters, and bustling markets. It passes through Teatro Massimo, one of the largest opera houses in Europe, and the Quattro Canti, an iconic Baroque square, where Via Maqueda intersects with Corso Vittorio Emanuele. In recent years, parts of Via Maqueda have been pedestrianized, making it a popular spot for both locals and tourists to enjoy a leisurely stroll, shop, dine, and take in the sights. The streets in Palermo's historic center are lined with apartment buildings, a fascinating display of historical architectural splendor, with a blend of styles that reflect the city's long and diverse history, shaped by various cultures: Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Normans, and Spanish, all of which have left their mark on the city's buildings. Baroque and Renaissance buildings often feature ornate facades with detailed stucco work, decorative cornices, and grand entrance doors. The Baroque style reflects the city's prosperity during the 17th and 18th centuries. Balconies are common and adorned with wrought iron railings featuring intricate designs. These designs reflect the craftsmanship of the local artisans who created them, blending functionality with aesthetic appeal. Many of these wrought iron balconies in Palermo date back to the 17th and 18th centuries, a period when the city was flourishing under Spanish and later Bourbon rule. These balconies were not only decorative, but also a status symbol for the wealthy families who lived in the grand palaces and homes. The Norman Arab style is unique in Sicily, featuring pointed arches, decorative tile work, and wooden lattice windows. The use of courtyards is also a common element, reflecting the Arab influence on Palermo's urban design. Renaissance architecture is characterized by its symmetry, proportion, and the use of classical elements, such as columns and pilasters. In Palermo's historic center, some apartment buildings feature Renaissance-inspired facades with arched windows, decorative friezes, and elegant entrance portals. Palermo side streets, or vicoli, offer a glimpse into the city's authentic charm, rich history, and a vibrant local life. These narrow winding streets are a contrast to the wider, more bustling streets like Via Maqueda. They often lead to hidden gems, from historic landmarks to cozy cafes. Exploring Palermo's labyrinth of narrow side streets is like stepping back in time. You can experience the city's history and the daily life of Palermo's residents. You'll see locals chatting on their balconies, laundry hanging across the streets, and the small shops selling everything from fresh produce to handmade crafts. Many of these streets host local markets where you can find fresh seafood, fruits, vegetables, and traditional Sicilian snacks. The atmosphere in these side streets is often more relaxed and intimate, away from the tourist crowds. The combination of cobblestone paths, dimly lit alleys, and aroma of Sicilian cuisine wafting from nearby kitchens creates a unique and immersive experience. The buildings and the streets in Palermo's historic center contribute to a distinctive urban fabric that is both grand and intimate. The mix of architectural styles, from medieval to Baroque and beyond, creates a visually rich environment that reflects the city's complex history. Walking through the historic center, you can see how these buildings, with their varied designs and features, tell the story of Palermo's past while still serving as homes for its residents today. Fontana Pretoria in Palermo is a fountain surrounded by nude statues. These statues were created in Florence and transported here. Because they are nude, it's also called the Fountain of Shame. Fontana Pretoria was originally built in 1544 in Florence by the Florentine Renaissance sculptor Francesco Camilliani. It was intended to be placed in a garden belonging to a Florentine aristocrat who fell in deep debt. In 1573, he sold the fountain to the city of Palermo. When the fountain was being transported to Palermo, it was disassembled in 644 pieces. When it arrived at Palermo, it was assembled by Camillo Camilliani, son of Francesco Camilliani. The central part of the fountain is a large circular basin with a multi-tiered structure, surrounded by nude statues of nymphs, tritons, gods, and goddesses, and decorated with the animals. Fontana, Pretoria is a typical Renaissance art. The Renaissance movement began in Florence in the 14th century and spread across Europe. It was marked by a revival of the values, aesthetics, and ideas of ancient Greece and Rome, where the human body was celebrated as a subject of beauty, power, and divine inspiration. It was during the Renaissance when the art of nudity was revived and it became popular. Renaissance artists drew inspiration from ancient sculptures, which emphasized proportion, balance, and harmony. This classical influence encouraged the artists to explore the human figure in its most natural state, often using nudes to represent gods, heroes, and mythological figures. Although nudity in art was fashionable in Florence and possibly elsewhere in Europe at the time, it shocked the conservative residents of Palermo when they saw the arrival of Fontana, Pretoria. They called it Fontana della Vergogna, meaning the fountain of shame. They often associated the fountain with the corrupt government officials of Palermo. Over the centuries, Fontana, Pretoria is famous for being a great Renaissance art, but carries a controversial reputation. It's probably the largest open-air display of Renaissance art in Palermo. The fountain has become a symbol of Palermo's eclectic and sometimes provocative cultural heritage, blending Renaissance art with the local Baroque style. Today, the society is much more tolerant toward the art of nudity. Fontana, Pretoria remains a popular tourist attraction, admired for its artistic beauty and historical significance. Sicilian cuisine is a rich and diverse tapestry of flavors, reflecting the island's unique geography, climate, culture, and history. Sicilian cuisine has much in common with Italian cuisine. Pasta and pizza are the dominant dishes. Located at the crossroads of the Mediterranean, Sicily has also absorbed influences from Greek, Roman, Arab, Norman, Spanish, and French culinary traditions, which have shaped its distinctive dishes. Sicily is surrounded by the sea. Seafood is a major part of the diet. Popular seafood dishes include grilled swordfish, shrimp, and clams. Linguine al vongole, or linguine with clams, as we call in the US, is a classic Italian seafood dish originating from the coastal regions of southern Italy. It's usually prepared with fresh clams, white wine, garlic, olive oil, and parsley. However, there are numerous regional variations of the dish. Pelote clams a type of small grooved shell clam, are used. The live clams open during cooking, releasing a liquid that serves as a flavoring agent. It's a simple yet elegant dish with irresistible aroma and celebrates the fresh, briny flavor of clams. It's fair to say Quattro candy is the heart of Palermo, not only physically, but also historically and culturally. Lying at the central location of the historic center of Palermo, Quattro Canti is a famous Baroque square where two major streets, Via Marquetta and Corso Vittorio Emanuele, intersect. The square is central to Palermo. Even if you don't plan to visit here, you will come across this place anyway, probably even more than once. Many Palermo's important historical and cultural sites can be accessed from here. When you first step into the square, you will get an impression that something is important about this place by looking at the opulent facades of the buildings, nearly symmetric on four sides, adorned with the vivid statues depicting the figures whom you may not know. Some degree of aging is visible, reflecting its old world charm. You will look around, turn yourself 360 degrees, try to grasp as much as you can. And only when you start to look everything more closely, you begin to appreciate and admire its beauty and grandeur. The square was constructed between 1610 and 1660. Numerous Italian architects and sculptors worked on its development. At the time of its completion, it served as an early example of town planning in Europe. The square layout is octagonal. Four sides are the streets, while the remaining four sides are the symmetric concave Baroque facades of the apartment buildings, each with 4 stories with 3 full-size statues in their centers. The street level up to the second story feature 4 fountains. Each symbolizes one of the 4 seasons. The third stories have statues in niches of 4 Spanish rulers of Sicily. Above them in the roof line are their respective coat of arms. The fourth and top stories of the buildings have statues of 4 female Christian saints of Palermo: Christina, Nympha, Olivia, and Agata. Quattro Canti is one of Palermo's most iconic landmarks and a stunning display of Palermo's history, religion, and artistic achievements. It's often referred to as the Theater of the Sun, because at any time of the day, at least one of the 4 sides is illuminated by sunlight. Because it's located in a boisterous commercial area with all the shops and the restaurants around, you wouldn't expect something this beautiful, grand, and meaningful to be here. It comes as a surprise. When you leave Palermo, Quattro Canti will leave an indelible mark in your memory. Palermo Cathedral is the most magnificent architectural landmark in Palermo, Sicily, with a rich and diverse history that spans over 1,000 years. Originally built in 1185 by the Normans, it has been expanded and modified many times over the centuries. It is located in the heart of Palermo, a sacred area where the Greeks, Romans, and Arabs had previously built their own places of worship. It was constructed on the site of a Byzantine basilica that was converted into a mosque by the Arabs and later reclaimed as a Christian church by the Normans. As a result, the building showcases many different architectural styles from different eras: Norman, Islamic, Gothic, Baroque, Neoclassical, making it one of the architectural masterpieces of Sicily and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The exterior resembles a fortress with high crenellated walls and a fortified appearance. This robust design reflects the Norman architectural style, which was common in Sicilian churches and fortified buildings of the time. The main facade features pointed arches with intricate geometric decorations influenced by Islamic art. At the western entrance, there are imposing Gothic towers, which were designed with slender pointed arches and a rustic stonework, often in a clustered arrangement, giving a sense of height and upward movement. They maintain a balance of simplicity and elegance that is characteristic of Mediterranean Gothic structures. These towers are symmetrical, with twin towers flanking the entrance, providing a sense of order and grandeur. Narrow lancet windows are embedded within these arches, adding a Gothic feel with their elongated vertical design. These windows not only bring light into the cathedral, but also create an interplay of light and shadow on the tower surfaces. The bell tower is topped by a statue of Madonna, a Virgin Mary, to whom the cathedral is dedicated. In the 18th century, the church underwent a significant Baroque transformation. This renovation altered parts of the interior, lending a Baroque flair to the structure, with an emphasis on grandeur, curved lines, and dynamic shapes. The interior has a Latin cross plan, with a nave and two aisles divided by pilasters. The neoclassical dome, visible from various points in Palermo, was added during the 18th century renovations. Its smooth, classical shape contrasts with the medieval exterior and provides an additional element of harmony and symmetry. The south entrance features a portico, 3 arcades, flanked by 2 turrets, a design of Gothic Calaton style. Visitors can take a roof tour to have a unique perspective of the cathedral from high above. The roof tour includes walking along the narrow paths and the terraces that wrap around the cathedral, giving visitors a sense of the scale and complexity of the structure. Walking on the roof, you will appreciate and admire the intricate architectural design, along with breathtaking panoramic views of the city of Palermo, the surrounding red-tiled rooftops, narrow streets, and mountains beyond. The roof tour lets you get a close-up view of the Gothic towers, the pointed arches, and the decorative elements that are difficult to see from below. You'll also get an intimate perspective on the stone carvings, the crenellations on the towers, and the detailed geometric and Islamic-inspired motifs that adorn the exterior walls. From this perspective, you can see the harmonious blend of styles, with the dome complementing the pointed arches and the geometric motifs of the older parts of the structure. You will learn about the Norman, Gothic, Baroque periods that shaped the cathedral, as well as the cultural history of Palermo. The roof tour of Palermo Cathedral is a fantastic way to experience the architectural wonder of the building up close, while enjoying some of the best views in the city. It's an experience that brings the cathedral's rich history and a breathtaking design to life, all from a spectacular vantage point. The Palermo Cathedral is not just a place of worship, but also a testament to the island's multicultural history, making it one of Sicily's most significant cultural and historical sites. The ancient building behind me is Palazzo dei Normanni, meaning Norman Palace in English. It was built by the Normans who invaded Sicily around year 1000. Normans are an ethnic population originally from northern France, Sweden, and Norway. They moved to Normandy of France and established their settlement there. The Normans are known for their military prowess and architectural achievements. They conquered a lot of territories in Europe. The Normans came to Sicily to replace Islamic culture by building Christian churches and palaces. Norman Palace in Palermo is a must-visit for anyone who is interested in Sicilian culture, history, and art. The palace stands on the highest ground of the historic center of the city. Constructed during the 9th century by Arab rulers as a defensive stronghold, the building was later expanded into a palace by the Normans in the 12th century, making it a combination of Arab, Norman, Byzantine architecture. The main facade is characterized by rectangular towers, each showcasing detailed Arabic and Norman decorations. The stonework is mixed with geometric motifs and intricate patterns, typical of Norman and Arab styles. Many windows are arched and adorned with pointed or horseshoe designs, a common feature in Arab Norman architecture. Some windows are set in a series of triple arches, giving a unique, almost cathedral-like appearance. At the top of the palace walls, there are battlement crenellations, which add a medieval fortress-like feel, blending defensive and decorative elements. The Norman Palace is a fine example of Arab Norman architecture, displaying the blend of European and Middle Eastern aesthetics that are uniquely Sicilian. The Marble Theatre is a Baroque monument outside of the Norman Palace. Erected in 1662, This sculptural group is dedicated to Philip IV of Habsburg, King of Spain and Sicily, known as Philip the Great, and nicknamed the Planet King, as his possessions extended across all continents of the then known world. The pyramidal monument with the octagonal base is made up of statues arranged in harmonious composition together with balustrades. At the top of the steps are allegorical statues representing Kingdom of Sicily, Castile and Leon, Lombardy, Portugal, Sardinia, America, Kingdom of Naples, and Catalonia. The work is adorned with plaques and the coats of arms of the major Sicilian families. Around the square pedestal are arranged the representations of the 4 parts of the earth explored and civilized at the time: Europe, Asia, Africa, and America, over which the King of Spain governed. At the top, there's a statue of Philip IV. The Marble Theatre is a lesser-known gem of Palermo, exemplifying the city's rich architectural heritage and its historical ties to European nobility. It stands as a both historical and artistic landmark in Palermo, symbolizing the city's loyalty to the Spanish crown during that period, and showcasing Sicilian craftsmanship in marble and stone. The courtyard of the Norman Palace, also known as the Courtyard of Maqueda, is a striking example of Renaissance architecture, showcasing classical elegance that contrasts with the surrounding medieval and Arab Norman elements of the palace. This courtyard, built in the 17th century by the Spanish viceroy Maqueda, added a new layer of style and sophistication to the historic building. The courtyard is surrounded on 3 sides by arcades with multiple stories of round, semicircular arches supported by columns. This arrangement is typical of Renaissance courtyards, focusing on symmetry, proportion, and harmony of geometric forms. The arches give a sense of openness and fluidity, drawing light into the courtyard and creating a serene, reflective space within the palace. The courtyard has a 3-tiered layout, with each level featuring arcaded loggias. Each level's open-air design allows for views both into the courtyard and from it into the surrounding palace rooms, reflecting the Renaissance concept of blending interior and exterior spaces. Historically, the courtyard provided a formal entrance to the palace and continues to be a welcoming space for visitors today. The courtyard's central open area was used for ceremonial purposes and gatherings. Its open design allowed fresh air and natural light to enter the palace, which would have been crucial in the Mediterranean climate. The pride of the palace is the Palatine Chapel, a stunning example of Arab Norman art. The chapel, built in 1132 by order of Roger II, the Norman King of Sicily, was the royal family's private chapel. Look up and prepare to be enchanted by the beautiful golden mosaics that cover the walls and the ceiling. Here, Byzantine, Latin, and Islamic cultures come together in a truly unique way, reflecting Sicily's unique multicultural heritage during the Middle Ages. The highlight is undoubtedly the Byzantine mosaics decorating the dome, which depicts Christ blessing the faithful with his right hand. The mosaics that cover the walls and the ceiling are some of the finest in Italy, depicting biblical scenes, saints, and angels. The mosaics are in vibrant gold and intricate detail, which reflect the light and add a radiant, almost a heavenly atmosphere to the chapel. The wooden ceiling in the nave is decorated with elaborate Islamic-style milkiness. This honeycomb-like decoration, created by North African craftsmen, includes stunning carvings and painted motifs with geometrical and floral patterns, a striking contrast to the Christian mosaics below. The layout and the structural design of the chapel also incorporate elements typical of Western church architecture, including basilica-style nave and apse arrangement. The Palatine Chapel stands as a symbol of religious and cultural tolerance that existed in Norman Sicily. The coexistence of Christian, Muslim, and Byzantine elements within a single sacred space underscores the inclusive and cosmopolitan nature of Roger II's court. The Palatine Chapel is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it remains one of Palermo's most celebrated monuments, attracting visitors worldwide who are drawn to its breathtaking art, intricate symbolism, and cultural significance. Hi, I'm Tom Lu. Today I'm in Palermo, the capital of Sicily. Sicily is known to be the birthplace of the Italian Mafia. The Italian Mafia is the most long-lasting and far-reaching crime organization in history. The story about the Mafia is frequently depicted in movies and literature, glorified and romanticized. The most famous movie about the Mafia is no other than The Godfather. The building behind me, Teatro Massimo, is one of the filming locations of The Godfather 3, where Al Pacino witnessing her daughter being shot on the steps. With an area of 7,730 square meters, Teatro Massimo is the largest opera house in Italy and the third largest in Europe. The construction of Teatro Massimo began in 1874 and went for 23 years until its completion in 1897. It was intended to promote the image of the city of Palermo following the unification of Italy in 1861. The architecture of Teatro Massimo is an impressive blend of neoclassical, Renaissance Revival, and Baroque styles, reflecting the grandeur of the late 19th century. The building is a masterpiece that combines classical inspiration with innovative engineering. Designed by Giovanni Battista Basio and completed by his son, Ernesto Basio. They were among the most technically and artistically specialized experts in Sicily at the time, especially because of their profound knowledge and experience in ancient Greek and Roman architecture, as well as the Norman architectural style. This style required the use of natural thick stone, all of which was part of the structural design. The theater's facade is characterized by a majestic portico with Corinthian columns, reminiscent of ancient Greek temples. The triangle pediment atop the portico is adorned with sculptural reliefs. The massive central dome dominates the skyline of Palermo, symbolizing the theater's role as a cultural and architectural landmark. Leading up to the entrance, the staircase is flanked by two impressive bronze lions, symbolizing strength and protection. The lions are accompanied by figures representing tragedy and comedy. The design incorporates elements inspired by classical temples, making it look both regal and monumental. The horseshoe-shaped auditorium, with seating for over 1,300 people, is decorated with gilded accents, velvet upholstery, and a richly painted ceiling, depicting allegories of music and drama. The lavishly designed royal boxes were reserved for the Italian royal family and features intricate carvings and luxurious materials. The stunning auditorium is renowned for its perfect acoustics. The structure is designed to optimize sound quality, ensuring that every note reaches the audience with clarity. The foyer and the surrounding areas showcase marble floors, ornate frescoes, and chandeliers, creating an atmosphere of opulence. Ernesto Bastillo incorporated advanced techniques like steel frameworks and innovative acoustic solutions, setting a new standard for opera house design. The theater features an early example of a modern ventilation system, allowing for air circulation without disrupting performances. It has hosted some of the greatest opera performances in history, featuring world-famous composers, conductors, and performers. It continues to serve as a center for the performing arts in Sicily. The Teatro Massimo stands as a testament to the artistry and ambition of its creators, embodying the cultural aspirations of Palermo during its construction in the late 19th century. It serves as a symbol of Palermo's vibrant history and artistic heritage. It prominently features in popular culture, including a memorable scene in The Godfather Part 3. Hi, I'm Tom Lu. Today I'm in Cefalu in Sicily. Cefalu is a coastal town with a beautiful beach. An hour train ride from Palermo. There are narrow alleyways in a medieval setting and a large rock in the backdrop. Today we're going to explore Cefalu. On the northern coast of Sicily lies a picturesque town. It's one of the most popular tourist destinations in Sicily for its narrow cobblestone streets filled with medieval charm, stunning beaches, deep blue seawater. A towering rock, or promontory, dramatically rises from the beach, overlooking the town and the Tyrrhenian Sea beyond. The town is called Cefalu, about 70 kilometers east of Palermo. The name Cefalu comes from the ancient Greek, meaning head, likely referring to the rock on which the town is situated. The history of Cefalu dates back to prehistoric times, with evidence of early human habitation found in nearby caves. Under Roman rule, Cefalu became part of the province of Sicily. It remained a small but important settlement during this time, primarily as a coastal hub. Following the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Cefalu was incorporated into the Byzantine Empire. During this era, the town served as a strategic and defensive location. In the 9th century, the Arabs conquered Sicily, including Cefalu. The town flourished under Arab rule, benefiting from agricultural advancements and the trade networks established by its new rulers. The Arab influence is still evident in the region's architecture and the names of some places. In 1063, the Normans, under Roger I of Sicily, seized Cefalu. The town entered a golden age during the Norman period, particularly under Roger II, who commissioned the construction of Cefalu's most iconic landmark, the Cefalu Cathedral, in 1131. The cathedral is a masterpiece of Norman architecture, blending Byzantine, Arab, and Latin elements, and it remains a UNESCO World Heritage Site. During the medieval period, Cefalu expanded around the cathedral and the Rocca di Cefalu, a fortress atop the promontory. The town became an important religious center. In the Renaissance period, Cefalu retained its religious significance and saw the construction of several palaces and churches. However, it remained relatively small and was overshadowed by larger Sicilian cities like Palermo. Under Spanish rule and later as part of the Bourbon Kingdom of Two Sicilies, Cefalu experienced economic stagnation but retained its cultural and religious importance. After Italian unification in 1861, Cefalu became part of modern Italy. Today, Cefalu is a major tourist destination, celebrated for its historical architecture, sandy beaches, and a vibrant cultural scene. The Cathedral of Cefalu was built between 1131 and 1240 in the Norman architectural style by the Normans who conquered the island of Sicily. According to tradition, the building was erected after a vow made to the Holy Savior by the King of Sicily, Roger II, after he escaped from a storm to land on the city's beach. The building has a fortress-like character, and seen from a distance, it dominates the skyline of the surrounding medieval town. It made a powerful statement of the Norman presence. Walking on the streets in Cefalu, you will be transported back in time and have a close contact with local life. The narrow cobblestone streets, filled with medieval charm, are bustling with shops, cafes, and restaurants, serving delicious Sicilian cuisine, exuberating a relaxed atmosphere. The town has a population of 14,000. Despite its size, every year it attracts millions of tourists from all parts of Sicily and also from all over Italy and Europe. It's regarded as one of the most beautiful villages of Italy. The main beach, Lungomare, is a sandy stretch with crystal clear waters, perfect for swimming and relaxing. The beach is usually crowded in summer as families and those seeking relaxation flock here. The medieval village is reflected in the sea, with its ancient houses overlooking the water. The promenade along the seafront is a perfect area for a romantic sunset stroll with restaurants, ice cream parlors, and places to enjoy typical Sicilian dishes. La Rocca, the rock, is one of the most iconic symbols of this enchanting Sicilian town. This majestic limestone rock formation, about 270 meters high, overlooks the town below. You can hike to the top to explore ancient ruins, including a Norman fortress and the Temple of Diana, and enjoy panoramic views of the coastline and the surrounding landscapes. The human presence in the rock began as early as prehistory, probably in the caves of the northeast side. For the ancient Greeks, the rock gave its name to the urban settlement below it. The rock has always been integrated into the city's fortification and defense system. Throughout the ancient era, it had to maintain its role as a strategic as well as sacred place due to the presence of megalithic sanctuary known today as the Temple of Diana. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, it became a refuge for the inhabitants fleeing from the city due to their being constantly threatened by raids, first by the Vandals and then by the Saracens. This fortress withstood the siege of the Arabs several times, remaining impregnable until 857. Later on, when taken by the Normans in 12th to 13th centuries, it was strengthened, especially as regards the castle complex at the top, particularly during the age of Frederick II. Its defensive and protective function for the city was maintained until the Bourbon era and again until World War II. In 1967, the rock was included in the city's town plan as an urban park and an integral part of the historic center. In the decade 1983 to 1993, after investigations, archaeological excavations were carried out. In 1997, the rock was declared a site of community importance according to European Community Directive. Our trip to Cefalu is our last day in Sicily. With its history, scenery, and a relaxing and a romantic atmosphere, the beautiful medieval coastal town left an indelible mark in our memory.